Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling worse because you explained too much? Not because you lost, because you felt yourself getting smaller while you talked. You kept clarifying your tone, your intent. What did you mean? You kept trying to sound reasonable while they stayed still. And with every extra sentence, you looked less grounded and more affected. Now the disrespect is not even the main thing anymore. Your need to defend yourself is. That is the shift most people feel, but do not catch in time. The line was crossed once, but you kept talking like enough explanation could pull your dignity back. It could not. The real loss does not get loud. It gets visible. The line was already crossed. That part was clear. But then you start correcting the picture. No, that is not what I meant. No, you took it wrong. No, I was only trying to help. And that is when the room shifts. You are no longer standing at your point. You are working to recover your image from inside the disrespect. People can hear it immediately. The pressure, the speed, the extra effort in your voice. Now the issue is no longer just what they did. It is how fast you left your center to make sure you were seen correctly. That is what makes you look smaller. Because once a crossed line makes you explain this much, people learn something dangerous. They learn your composure is negotiable if your image feels threatened. And that is why this moment matters. Not because you lost the argument, because you kept speaking like explanation could restore dignity after dignity was already being tested. It starts smaller than people expect, not in a big fight, or in one tight moment that looks easy to explain away. A comment lands wrong, maybe at work, maybe at home, maybe in front of one other person. They use that tone, clean enough to deny, sharp enough to hit. You feel it immediately, not enough to explode, just enough to make your body rush in and fix the meaning fast. Because now you want control. You want to make sure they do not walk away with the wrong version of you. So you clarify. That is not what I meant. You took it the wrong way. I was only trying to help. One sentence becomes 2, then 3. And this is where the shift happens. They are not doing much now. You are. You are the one adjusting the air. You are the one trying to repair the picture. You are the one carrying the pressure. The more you explain, the more it looks like the comment reached you. That is the first mistake. You think an explanation will make you look solid. In that moment, it makes you look movable, easy to pull, easy to reposition, and people notice that faster than you think. So when the line gets crossed, do less. One calm sentence if it is needed. Then stop. Do not chase clean perception inside a dirty moment. Let your stillness say what your extra words never will. Not everyone gets access to your full defense. Then it happens again. Different scene, same trap. Another sharp remark. Another small distortion. Another moment where someone talks to you like they already know you are about to explain yourself. And you do. You feel that old pressure rise fast. The urge to clean it up. To make sure this one does not stay twisted too. So you answer quickly. You soften your tone. You add context. Or as you try to sound calm. But your calm is working too hard. That is when the pattern turns dangerous. Because now this is not one bad moment. This is a reflex. Line gets crossed. You clarify. Tension enters the room. And somehow you are the one carrying it. Again. And again. After a while, you stop noticing how often are you the one restoring the room after someone else disturbed it. That is the repeated mistake. You keep reading each moment like it is separate. It is not separate. It is a rehearsal. Every time you over-explain after disrespect, you teach people something. You teach them that you will absorb the discomfort. that you will rush in and clean up their wrong reading of you, that they can press, and you will start proving. That is why the disrespect starts arriving more easily, faster, lighter, because they already know the second half. You will stay. You will explain. You will work for your own innocence. The break has to happen early, not after the third sentence, at the first internal pull. Feel the urge. Do not follow it. Answer once if needed. Short, plain. Then let the silence keep its shape. Because repetition is how disrespect becomes normal, and refusal is how the pattern stops learning you. And this is where the damage stops being private. Now the room can feel it. A meeting, a family table, a group chat that suddenly turns sharp. Someone throws a line at you, or twists what you said, and you feel that familiar pull to fix the picture immediately. So you jump in. No, that is not what happened. No, you are leaving something out. No, that came out wrong. And now the shift is social. You are not just speaking anymore. Now you are chasing the room. You are trying to pull everyone back before the impression hardens. That urgency shows. Even when your words sound calm, the pressure under them does not. People can feel the difference between someone speaking from the center and someone trying not to look bad. That is the deeper cut here. The disrespect happened in public. Now your clarification is public too. And once that starts, your energy begins dropping in front of witnesses. You explain. They lean back. You add nuance. They let you spend it. You try to recover your image. They already look less invested than you. That contrast is brutal, because the consequence is not just embarrassment. It is repositioning. The room starts to feel who is steady and who is scrambling. That is how respect slips. Not because you had no point, because you showed how badly you needed the point to land. So do less. Do not perform innocence for spectators. Do not fight to control every reading in public. Say one clean sentence, or say nothing. Let the person who crossed the line sit inside the awkwardness, not you. And this is where it gets expensive. Because now the room matters. A boss says something unfair in front of the team. A client twists your tone. Someone with status looks at you like you need to explain yourself right now. The room goes still. You feel the heat rise fast, not just because the line was crossed, because something real is on the table now. Position, credibility, control, and that is what makes the trap feel justified. You tell yourself this is the moment to clarify. So you tighten up. You explain your intent. You explain the sequence. You explain what you meant. Then you explain why it sounded wrong. And now you are in it. Not grounded. Recovering. That is the danger of high-stakes moments. The more important the room feels, the weaker over-explaining looks. Because pressure reveals everything. Who can stay paced? Who starts chasing repair? You think more words will protect your position. But under pressure, extra words usually reveal that your position already feels threatened. And the room feels that immediately. Now they are not only hearing your point, they are watching self-protection happen live. Watching you work to get back to stable ground. That effort costs respect fast. So the Stoic move here has to be cleaner. When the room gets hot, make your response smaller. One line, maybe two. Flat voice, no defense spiral, no emergency energy. Let restraint do the work, because in a pressure room, the person who stays measured usually keeps the stronger position. But this is where the real cost shows up, not in the room. After. You get home. The room is quiet. The conversation is over, but your body is still inside it. You replay the moment line by line. You hear yourself explaining again. the extra sentences, the softening, the effort, and that is the part that stays with you. Not only were they unfair, that you felt yourself leave your own side just to be seen correctly. That inner reaction is brutal, because now the disrespect is outside, but the shrinking is inside. So you start bargaining with the memory. Maybe I should have said less. Maybe I should have stopped earlier. Maybe I looked weak. That is the bigger mistake here. Now, do you think the damage only happened in the room? It did not. The deeper damage starts when you stop trusting your own stillness and begin to believe you must explain yourself to remain intact. That belief follows you. It makes you more available next time, more alert to misread, more eager to repair. That is how one moment becomes a pattern in the self. So the shift here is simple. Do not keep rewriting the scene in your head. Do not rehearse better explanations for a dead moment. See it clean. They crossed the line. You overclarified. That is the lesson. Take it. Then stop feeding it. Because self-respect starts coming back the moment you stop needing full understanding to stay solid. And this is where the habit starts wearing your name. You stop calling it a reaction. You call it personality. I just like to be clear. I hate misunderstandings. I do not want tension. But look closer. That is not always clarity. Sometimes it is fear trying to sound mature. Fear of being misread. Fear of being disliked. Fear of letting the silence end before your image feels repaired. That is why this part is dangerous. You are not just explaining after disrespect. You are defending the urge to explain. You are treating overexposure like honesty. And people feel that. They stop sensing a boundary. They sense access. They learn that pressure opens you. Push a little harder, and more words come out. More proof. More self-exposure. More permission. This is the correction. Stop calling fear clarity. Stop calling urgency kindness. Stop calling over-explaining a character. You do not need everyone to read you correctly for you to remain intact. I let them leave with some distortion. Let silence do what your panic never could. Because strength returns. The moment of misunderstanding stops feeling like a threat. And this is where the pattern finally gets broken. Not when you understand it. When it happens again. Someone says something sharp. They twist your tone. They pull on that old reflex to clarify, to soften, to prove. And this time, you catch it. The pull in your chest. The sentence is forming too fast. The urge to rescue your image before the silence turns heavy. But now, you do something different. You do not rush in. You let the first wave pass. You keep your face still. You keep your voice clean. Maybe you say one line. That is not what happened. Or you can think that. Or even, I said what I said. Then you stop. No second paragraph. No nervous repair. Like no extra context for someone who already crossed the line. That is the correction. You answer once. Then you detach. And the effect is immediate. The room does not get your scramble. They do not get your over-effort. They do not get to watch you shrink in real time. Now the pressure stays where it belongs, on the person who pushed too far. That is when respect starts returning. Not because you won the exchange, because you stopped donating dignity just to be understood. And once you feel that shift for real, the old pattern becomes impossible to admire. You see it clearly. The strength was never in the perfect explanation. It was in the moment you no longer needed one. You did not get smaller because they misunderstood you. You got smaller when being understood became more urgent than staying solid. That is the real loss. Not every crossed line deserves your explanation. Some moments give your power back the moment you stop feeding them. Because respect does not return through endless clarification. It returns when your self-respect matters more than correcting their version of you. And once that shifts, you stop handing your dignity to moments that never earned that much access,